Hi guys, are you fed up of losing baseline rallies? Do you find that you are the first one to miss? And are you fed up of constantly defending? Well, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be equipped in how to improve your ground stroke quality so that you can start dictating those baseline exchanges. Now, the best way to assess your ground stroke quality is to have a rally and see how many balls are bouncing and rising over the baseline. Now, if you can get the ball to bounce and rise over the baseline, it's going to keep your opponent back, it's going to stop them attacking, and it's going to put them under a lot of pressure where they might make mistakes or they might even drop the ball short for you to attack. Now, vice versa, if your balls are dipping before the baseline or even dipping as it crosses the baseline, then instead it's going to invite pressure, it's going to allow your opponents to come forwards, and it's going to give them more opportunities to move you around and attack. Now, there are 5 key ball characteristics that you can influence in order to ensure that your ground strokes have more quality. These are height, depth, speed, spin and direction. Now, we're going to look through each of those and how you can influence those to improve your quality, and we're also going to look at some drills that can help you train these 5 ball characteristics. Now, the first of these characteristics that we're going to look at is height. Now, increasing your height over the net not only gives you more margin in your ground strokes, which might make you more consistent and miss less in the net, but it also tends to make the ball land deeper in the court. Now, it's this combination of depth and height that helps to push the opponent back and move them further behind the baseline. This therefore gives you more time in the rally, and hopefully it puts them under a bit more pressure so that you may get opportunities to step forwards and attack. Now, a good place to aim in terms of height, and it does depend whether you are a flatter player or a topspin player, is twice the height of the net. The higher the ball is over the net, the higher the ball tends to bounce when it's at the baseline. What this can do is it can make your opponent hit more balls in an uncomfortable position and at an uncomfortable height out of their comfort zone. Now, an opponent's comfort zone, most people's tend to be between their shoulder and their knee. That's where they are comfortable in contacting the ball. However, if you are playing with height, then it's going to raise that bounce above their shoulders, and if they don't move back accordingly, they're going to have to play a lot of awkward balls above shoulder height. This therefore may force them to miss or give you again a short ball to have an opportunity to attack. Of course, the higher we go, the more topspin we need to put on the ball in order to keep it in the court and bring it back down. So this brings us on to spin. Now, we are talking about topspin because topspin is not only great to improve your consistency, but it's going to make the ball bounce higher and kick on and push your opponent back even further and put them under more pressure. Now, you can see there's a bit of a common theme going on. The more you improve your ground stroke quality, the more under pressure your opponent is going to be, and the lower their quality is going to be when they are under pressure. Now, a good way I like to train both height and spin together is by tying a rope or a bit of tape to the fence and making it go along the court twice the height of the net. Now, this acts as another net to go over, essentially. Now, players can rally aiming over the tape and making sure they apply lots of topspin in order to bring that ball back down. Of course, by doing this, this is going to create an opportunity and put your opponent under pressure, and if the opportunity does arise and you do get a shorter ball, you can then go under the tape for the rest of the point whilst you attack. Now, height and spin gets you so far. However, if the ball is landing in the service box, your opponent is still going to have opportunities to take the ball on and step forwards. The next thing to focus on is depth. Now, consistently hitting the ball close to the baseline is going to prevent your opponent being able to take on the ball and step forwards and attack. Now, it's the combination of height, topspin and depth that really pushes your opponent back and forces them under pressure. The deeper the ball, it also limits your opponent's options. It means that they can't quite get the same angle as they could when they're forwards up the court. Therefore, they're unable to stretch you as effectively. It also means that you may be comfortable on the returning ball because it's coming back down towards the middle and you won't have to move too far for the next rally ball. Now, a bit like we had practiced the height and spin, a good way to practice depth is by placing a line across the court, maybe just past the service line, and having a go at rallying with a partner and trying to hit beyond that rope or that line. Now, once again, if by hitting it past the rope, it's going to put your opponent under pressure. They will most likely hit it short, and if it goes short, you can then play out the remaining point in the full court and look to take that ball on and attack it. Now, it's important to note where you place the rope may be different depending on what surface you are playing on. If you are playing on a faster court where the ball skids and moves through the court quicker, then you may place the rope a little bit shorter in the court, more towards the service line, because the ball will come through and still rise over the baseline and still put your opponent under a lot of pressure. If you're on a slower court, maybe outside of tarmac, maybe even clay, where the ball grips a little bit more and it doesn't come through the court as much, then you may find that you move the rope further back, closer to the baseline, because you need to hit it deeper in order to get it to rise over the baseline and push your opponent back. Now, in regards to speed, the faster you hit the ball, the less time your opponent has to A, prepare, and B, get into the right position for the shot. This may cause your opponent to be off balance, it may cause their contact point to be late, and therefore you may get more mistakes, or you might force your opponent into dropping the ball shorter in the court. Now, similar to what we said with height, the more power you put into the ball and the more speed you apply, the more spin you also need to apply in order to control that ball. Now, a good way to practice this is you can rally with someone of similar ability and time yourself and see how many shots you can hit in 60 seconds in a rally. Now, obviously, the more shots you hit in 60 seconds, the faster the tempo of the rally was, so that means the shots were quicker, and the less shots you hit, the slower the tempo of the rally. Now, of course, the faster the tempo, the harder it is to keep control of your shots. So it's not only good to practice increasing the speed of your shots, but it's also going to help you practice that consistency and control when you increase the speed. Now, our final characteristic is direction. Obviously, the more we move our opponent around the court and stretch them, the more likely they are to be under pressure and make a mistake. So it's trying to combine the 4 characteristics we've done already, but apply it when moving the opponent. So, for example, it might simply be your opponent's weakness is their backhand, so you're hitting good quality to the backhand corner. Or it might be that we're looking to string a combination of shots together and we're looking to go corner to corner and maybe even play angles in order to stretch our opponent wider and therefore get them running more. One of my favourite drills to practice changing direction when trying to maintain quality is called cross-cross line. Now, you can guess it, one player must hit cross-court twice in a row and then hit down the line on the 3rd shot, whilst the other player maintains cross-court the whole time. Now, what I like most about this is if your cross-courts are not effective enough, then it makes the 3rd ball down the line a much harder to play. So, for example, if my first 2 shots are falling shorter than the baseline and not rising over the baseline, then my opponent might hit a better quality shot back at me. Therefore, when I go to change down the line, I'm under pressure and it's a lot harder to get the ball down the line where I want it. As a result, my decision may be to play a defensive lob down the line rather than an attacking flat down the line. Now, on the other hand, if I really focus on my quality on those 2 cross courts and I really stretch my opponent either by pushing them back beyond the baseline or pushing them wide off the court, then likely that 3rd ball, when I go down the line, I may have a shorter ball, which makes it a lot easier to change direction, and also may be that I'm able to create a winner by hitting it into the space. So there you have it, guys. There's 5 ball characteristics you can do to improve your ground strokes with some drills that you can practice when you're on court and you're looking to assess and evaluate how good you are playing and how good your ground strokes are doing. Really focus on whether your ball is rising over the baseline and how much pressure is your opponent under when you are rallying. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you like it if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content. Cheers.